what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Week 5 snap counts. We're going to take a peek at all the box scores, go through all the snap counts, and just have a recap of the wonderful Week 5 weekend. We're going to start with LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. This was the Thursday night football game. Of course, Russell Wilson had to leave early with the finger injury, and we now know that he's out probably the next anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, it sounds like. So we'll see. Geno Smith's going to be the backup there. Seahawks 17, LA Rams 26. Let's just hop right into the snap counts first. For the Rams offense, we're looking at Matt Stafford again playing 67 snaps. That's 100% here. And Robert Woods was the player of the game. He had 99% of the snaps. Cooper Kupp at 88%. So that's kind of interesting. We didn't see Robert Woods getting the number one snaps for the last 4 games. This week he does. He was the hot man. And this one here, other receivers, Van Jefferson down at about 58%. He's still a clear number 3 wide receiver for the Rams. I should actually, we already got the screenshot on. We're good. Never mind. So it goes Woods, Kupp. Those guys are going to probably ping back and forth between the top 2 snaps at receiver. And then it looks like Van Jefferson's the clear number 3 in terms of snaps. He's been that way through 5 games now. And Deshaun Jackson's the clear number 4 at roughly 30% of the snaps. Tyler Higbee, this is his tight end job. We still know that, 84% of the snaps here. And then Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel, the 2 running backs that got snaps. Darrell Henderson gets 66% to Sony Michel's 34%. So basically, those are the only 2 running backs used. One of them was on the field at all times. Good information to know. We'll look at the box score in just a second. On the Seahawks side, Will Dissly was the leading guy here. With Gerald Everett out, he was the clear guy for snaps, 88%. It didn't really translate to fantasy success, but it's good to see Will Dissly continue to be healthy through his last 2 injury-plagued seasons. Tyler Lockett led the way for the receivers, 86%. DK Metcalf, 74% of the snaps. And then Freddie Swain, he's kind of the clear number 3 here for Seattle right now, 62%. Which not for anything for fantasy, but Freddie Swain, if anything happens to Lockett or Metcalf, Freddie Swain would be that next man up for snaps. So just file that name away. And then with Chris Carson inactive for this one, Alex Collins got 71% of the snaps, DJ Dallas down here at 22%, and Travis Homer just 12%. So that was kind of the pecking order. Geno Smith did play about 25 snaps to Russell Wilson's 40. Let's go look at some of these numbers in the box score here. We're looking for Seattle first. Seattle, Geno Smith, 10 of 17, 131 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He also added 23 rushing yards in this one. Before Russell Wilson left the game, 11 of 16, 152, a touchdown, a pick, and 10 yards rushing. Wilson was playing well, but they started to kind of snag a little bit on offense early in that second half. Alex Collins led the way with 15 carries, 47 yards. He also caught 2 of 3 targets for 25 yards. Really, DJ Dallas and Travis Homer really weren't a thing. DJ Dallas is kind of the 2-minute back. He did catch 2 for 32 in this one. He also received 4 carries. So just something to file away. We're not interested in DJ Dallas, but he is looking decent when he gets the ball as a receiver. DK Metcalf, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 98 yards, and the big 2 touchdowns, 1 from each quarterback. Tyler Lockett led the way with 10 targets, 5 for 57. He also had a touchdown called back in this one. Will Dissly, 4 targets, 2 for 29. So really this offense, it's going to continue to be about Metcalf and Lockett. Alex Collins might be the starter next week with Chris Carson out. And then Geno Smith, we'll talk about him on the waiver wire show tomorrow. But the Rams offense is pretty lock solid right now. 365 passing yards for Stafford, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Darrell Henderson goes and gets 17 attempts for 82 yards and a touchdown. Also catches one of his targets for 17 yards. Sony Michel, 11 for 37, and he gets a touchdown as well. 1 catch for 8 yards in this one. The targets, Robert Woods leads with 14 total targets, goes 12 for 150. No touchdown, but that's a great sight to see for Robert Woods owners. You wanted him to have that boom game. Still no touchdown, which could potentially be another boom week next week if he finds the end zone. Cooper Kupp, 10 targets, 7 for 92. Relax. You got Cooper Kupp. You're going to be just fine. 16.2 fantasy points is great. Deshaun Jackson, not reliable for fantasy, 1 for 68. Van Jefferson kind of took a seat back this week, 1 for 16. And Tyler Higbee, low volume day, but he catches the touchdown, 2 for 14, and the score there salvages the day. So interesting game here. Of course, Russell Wilson, he's going to be out for the next handful of weeks, but I think Seattle can float. They can float for a little bit with Geno Smith. You're still going to probably start DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Both those guys were busy when Geno Smith saw the field. The London game, the Falcons 27, the Jets 20 in this one. Let's take a peek at the snap counts for the Jets real quick. Ryan Griffin, the tight end, 91% snaps, but nobody really cares about the Jets tight end. They're just not productive at all. Corey Davis led the way for receivers, 80%. Jamison Crowder, 61%. And then you see Keelan Cole here was the wide receiver 3 with 55%. The next best was Elijah Moore, 41%. And then Denzel Mims finally got on the field with 14%. The running backs, Michael Carter, starting to just carve out a role for himself as the lead back. He had 52% of the snaps. Next best usage was Ty Johnson at 39%. And Tevin Coleman's just pretty much an afterthought at this point, just 9% of the snaps here for the Falcons. With Calvin Ridley out, you see Olamide Zaccheaus lead the way with 85%. Tajay Sharp was the wide receiver 2 at 81% of the snaps here. Kyle Pitts, massive day. We'll talk about his numbers in a second, but 69% snaps for Kyle Pitts. Actually, he had been doing more in the past, but it's good to see Pitts once we look at the numbers in a second. Mike Davis leads the way at 64% of the snaps for running backs. Cordero Patterson, I think this was a season high for him in terms of snaps, 59% of the snaps. And then Hayden Hurst, busy as a backup tight end, 55% of the snaps for him. Really nothing else really stuck out. So let's go take a peek at the box scores now. We'll start with the Jets. Wilson, he was fine, 19 of 32, buck 92, and an interception, only 3 yards. I wish he would scramble and use his legs a little bit more. But here we go. Michael Carter, 10 attempts, 38 yards, and the rushing touchdown, catches all 3 of his targets for 20 yards. So that's 5 points from the receiving PPR numbers there. Add 3.8, that's 8.8, and a touchdown. So a 14.8 day for Michael Carter. He's looking like a fringe running back too at this point right now. I like his usage in the passing game. And if you're going to tell me he's going to lead the team in carries in a game where, again, they were trailing for the most of it. So this is kind of feeling like a floor for Michael Carter. If you remove the touchdown, that's still 8 to 9 points. Add a touchdown in there, and that's how we get to 15. So Ty Johnson comes in 4 for 12, 1 touchdown, catches 2 for 22 as a receiver. Not really exciting to start Ty Johnson in fantasy this year. But Corey Davis leads the way with targets, 7 total targets, 4 for 45. This is a floor game for him. Not excited about it, but 8.5 points it is. Keelan Cole, 2 for 28. Denzel Mims, 2 for 33. Jamison Crowder, 6 targets, 4 for 24. So just a huge letdown, I guess, from all receiving weapons in this one. Elijah Moore, 2 targets, no catches. So a pretty lackluster game here from Atlanta. With Atlanta's defense, we expected the Jets to do a little bit more on offense, but all the touchdowns went to the running backs in this one. Matt Ryan looked really efficient without Calvin Ridley, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cordero Patterson led the way in rushing with 14 attempts, 54 yards, and then 9 targets, 7 for 60 as a receiver here. Cordero Patterson is just fantastic. This actually was his highest volume day. He got 14 carries. He didn't have more than 7 in any other game this year, so he doubled up on carries. And then just his usual 7 for 60. You know, he's going to be involved a lot as a weapon here. And with Calvin Ridley out, they made him a priority. So really great day from Cordero Patterson. If you take the 7 plus the 6 from the yards, that's just 13 points alone from his receiving chops. And then you add the 5.4. So it's looking like a really safe double-digit floor for Cordero Patterson going forward. Super excited to have Cordero. Now, Mike Davis got the rushing touchdown this week. He went 13 of 53 for the touchdown. Also had 5 targets, but only 2 for 8 as a receiver. He also lost a fumble in this one. Kyle Pitts, breakout game, finally here. 10 targets, 9 for 119, and the score, Tajay Sharp, 4 for 53. Hayden Hurst, 4 for 40 and a touchdown. Lee Smith, backup tight end, 3 for 30. And then struggling wide receivers here, Olamide Zaccheaus and Christian Blake at the end here. So not really too much we can learn from this. It looks like Atlanta, though. You're liking Cordero. You're liking Mike Davis. You're liking Kyle Pitts. Matt Ryan kind of back into our good graces as a quarterback, too, a top 15 quarterback right now. And the Jets still have a lot of work to do. We'll move on to the Carolina Panthers and the Philadelphia Eagles. 18-21. Eagles pull this one off with a huge second half comeback here. We'll start with the snap counts in this one. On the Eagles side here, you see Devonta Smith lead the way with 93% of the snaps. The next best receiver, Quez Watkins, 82%. Outsnapping Jalen Reagor, 70% for just Reagor, or for Reagor this week. The only other receiver really to be thoughtful of is Greg Ward down here at 16%. The tight ends, Dallas Goedert, 67% snaps for him. Zach Ertz, 60%, so they're still kind of splitting time as the main tight ends. And then for running backs, Miles Sanders got 75% of the snaps in this one. Kenneth Gainwell, only 24%. So that was kind of a reversal is what we've been seeing. It looked like Kenny Gainwell is about to make a stronger push for more carries in playing time, but Sanders took the main stake of the snaps this week. For the Panthers, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson both ran 87% of the snaps. Terrace Marshall Jr. 76%. No other receiver can be trusted. I mean, we can't even really trust Robbie Anderson or Terrace Marshall at this point. But it's a clear pecking order for the receivers for Carolina. Chuba Hubbard 65%. Royce Freeman was the backup running back with 20%. And then the tight ends: Ian Thomas 63%. Tommy Tremble 38%. Let's go take a look at these guys in the box score here. Let's see. We'll start with the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold, rough day for him. 21 of 37 passing, only 177 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times, added only 10 yards on the ground here. Chuba Hubbard, rookie running back, 24 attempts, though, 101 rushing yards. Good game for him on the ground. 5 for 33 as a receiver. So you got a really nice floor game in PPR leagues from Chuba Hubbard, but it looks like Christian McCaffrey is going to play this week 6. Ian Thomas, 5 targets, 4 for 40. This is like the first good game he's had in like the last 2-3 years since Greg Olsen has moved on. Robbie Anderson, 7 targets, but only 2 for 30. At this point, I'm comfortable not even using Robbie Anderson in my lineups right now. If you can try and trade him, try to do it. I hate selling low on players. Robbie Anderson, he might just be droppable at this point. Terrace Marshall, 3 targets, 2 for 14, nothing yet. Tommy Tremble, 4 targets, 2 for 12 and a touchdown. He got the lone touchdown of the day for the Panthers. And then kind of a slow day for DJ Moore. He did see 7 targets, but only 5 for 42 as a receiver. So pretty disappointing day if you had DJ Moore. Pretty much the only good Panther this week was Chuba Hubbard. Jalen Hurts, 22 of 37, 192, 1 interception, and he adds 30 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. So big second half effort from Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders gets 11 carries for 45 yards. He also catches all 5 of his targets for just 6 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 2 for 16, only 1 for 8 as a receiver. Devonta Smith led the way, 8 targets, 7 for 77. He also lost a fumble in this one. But at this point, I'm beginning to feel comfortable enough with Devonta Smith in my lineups as a wide receiver 3 flex in PPR leagues. Quez Watkins, 3 for 48. Dallas Goedert, 2 for 28. Jalen Reagor, 3 for 24. And then Zach Ertz, 6 targets, but only 1 for 7 here. So, I mean, at this point, the only guys you're really comfortable starting are Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. If you're rolling out Goddard or Zach Ertz at your tight end, you need help at tight end essentially right now. It's just not consistent enough. I mean, if they just had one tight end, you'd be getting 9 targets out of that guy. That would feel a lot better. But overall, the Eagles and the Panthers, a pretty frustrating game unless you had Jalen Hurts or Chuba Hubbard. We'll move on to the Green Bay Packers and the Cincinnati Bengals. This was a crazy game. And me being in the Midwest here, I got the opportunity to watch this game in its entirety. Wild fourth quarter and overtime. Pretty good game throughout the whole realm of it too. So let's look at the snap counts in this one. Packers, Devonte Adams 91%, Allen Lazard 86%. The next best receiver was Randall Cobb at 55%. And no other receivers really need to be mentioned. The running backs, Aaron Jones, 69%, A.J. Dillon, 33%. You love seeing Aaron Jones up in that 60 to 70% usage rate here. If he gets over 70%, that's going to be a huge game for him. So right on schedule with Aaron Jones snap counts. Robert Tonyan, 59%. Next best tight end was Mercedes Lewis at 45%. It's once we get to the box score, I'll talk a little bit about it, but the Packers are just really simple for fantasy right now. And on the Bengals side, Jamar Chase, 91% of the snaps. CJ Uzama, 84% of the snaps. Tyler Boyd, 82. T. Higgins, his first game back, 70% of the snaps. And then the running back split. Samaje Perine, 61% to Joe Mixon's 28%. Let's go look at the box score and show you guys how everything was broken down. On the Packers side, Aaron Rodgers, 27 of 39, 344. That's a season high, and 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception in this one. Aaron Jones led the way with 14 carries, 103 yards. He also caught 4 of his 5 targets for 6 total yards. A.J. Dillon was kind of the surprise of the day, 8 for 30 as a rusher, but he catches all 4 of his targets for 49 yards and a gorgeous touchdown. I think that was early in the first or the second quarter. So A.J. Dillon right now, man, there's talks of wanting to get him more involved as a receiver. That was there all summer, and now we're beginning to see that he can actually be used as a quality receiving option out of the backfield. So in this one, I mean, even if you take away the touchdown, 4 for 49, that's a quick 9 fantasy points right there. And then you add in 3 on the ground here. So it's to me, it's looking like A.J. Dillon might be worth a flex option. I'm kind of thinking of like the Tony Pollard Ezekiel Elliott offense, where all of a sudden a second running back might emerge as a low flex option for us. Devonte Adams is just a stud, 16 targets, 11 for 206 and a touchdown. I believe that's a career high in yards for Devonte Adams. Mercedes Lewis was the next best receiver, 2 for 34. Randall Cobb, 2 for 30. Robert Tonyan, 1 for 8. Alan Lazard, 2 for 6. Kylan Hill, 1 for 5. So ultimately, it's pretty frustrating to own Green Bay Packers pieces not named Devontae, Jones, or Dillon, or I guess Rodgers too. So it's really looking like this offense is those 4 guys only. If you're relying on Lewis, you're not relying on Lewis, but if you're using Cobb or Tonyan or Lazard, at this point, I just don't see it happening outside of lightning striking at the random time there. For the Bengals, for Joe Burrow, 26 of 38, 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had 2 interceptions in this one. He was sacked 3 times, 3 for 11 as a rusher. Samaje Perine, 11 carries, 59 yards. He also caught 4 of his 5 targets for 24 and a touchdown. He looked pretty good in this one here. Joe Mixon was kind of just used sparingly, 10 for 33 and the touchdown, 1 for 2 yards as a receiver. Jamar Chase, it was the big Jamar Chase game, 10 targets, 6 for 159 and a touchdown. T. Higgins was second in targets with 7, 5 for 32 as a receiver. He also had a really bad drop. I think it was at the end of the fourth quarter or early overtime to get them moving down the field. Tyler Boyd, really low day here, 5 targets, 4 for 24 as a receiver. CJ Uzama, only 2 for 16, and then really nothing else from Evans or Drew Sample. But overall, this is an interesting game because I think both teams have a lot of fantasy attention. Joe Burrow, he's a quarterback too, top 15 quarterback right now for regular leagues. And then Samaje Perine, who just went on the COVID list today. That means Joe Mixon's probably going to be ready for a lion's share of the workload next week. And then Chase and Higgins, I think if you're starting a Bengals receiver, those are the 2 you want. Tyler Boyd's kind of on the outside in right now, hard to trust. Whereas Chase and Higgins both leading the team in targets. So fun game. Packers win 25-22. We'll move on here to San Francisco and Arizona. The Cardinals win by 7. This one was in San Francisco. Let's take a look at the Trey Lance debut here for snaps. Trey Lance did play all 100%. Ross Dwelly with George Kittle out gets 91%. Debo Samuel, 86% of the snaps. Brandon Ayuk here at 71%. The running back field, Elijah Mitchell gets 68% of the snaps. The next best running back, Trey Sermon, with just 3%. So a lot of times they went 0 running back and they just used Kyle Juszczyk as the main running back here. So interesting to see how that went down. And then, of course, Juszczyk, 65%. Mohamed Sanu down here at 46%. Really nothing that can be trusted down here. On the Cardinals side of things, DeAndre Hopkins gets 92%. A.J. Green coming at number 2 with 80% of the snaps. Christian Kirk was the clear number 3 at 54%, and Rondale Moore continues to be the 4th wideout at 48% of the snaps. For running back, Chase Edmonds gets 61% to James Conner's 48%, so a little bit higher for James Conner than we've seen in the past. We know Chase Edmonds was kind of dinged up with a shoulder injury coming into this one. The Cardinals lost starting tight end Max Williams in this one. He might be done for the season. So you see Demetrius Harris here become the leading tight end guy for snaps at 52%. We'll check up the box score real quick to see if we should be interested in him. For the 49ers, Trey Lance, 15 of 29, 192 yards. He did throw a pick in this one, but he did run 16 times for 89 yards. So that was kind of the offensive game plan here, is to run Trey Lance. Elijah Mitchell goes 9 for 43. Only one other running back got a carry. That was Trey Sermon, 1 for 7. So the backfield is Elijah Mitchell's for now. Mitchell also added 2 for 19 as a receiver. Debo Samuel in this one gets the rushing touchdown, 1 carry for 13 yards. 9 targets, a team high 9 targets for Debo, but only 3 for 58. So if he doesn't get that rushing touchdown, you're feeling really disappointed in Debo Samuel in this game. Kyle Juszczyk, 3 for 35 as a receiver. Brandon Ayuk, 4 targets, but only 2 for 32. Ross Dwelly with the big opportunity here, only 2 for 25. And no thank you for Sanu, Warner, or Travis Benjamin. Kyler Murray, pretty quiet day for Kyler Murray. He goes 22 of 31, 239 and a touchdown, sacked twice. Only 1 yard rushing in this one. That was probably the number that surprised me the most. Rondale Moore, 3 for 38 to be the leading rusher of the day. 6 targets, 5 for 59 for Rondale Moore here. So you're seeing him being used more as a runner, and I like basically he was second in targets on the day with 6. James Conner comes in 10 for 29. He gets another rushing touchdown, his 5th of the season, 1 for 8 as a receiver. Chase Edmonds, pretty quiet day for him, 6 for 15 on the ground, only 3 for 19 as a receiver, and he did lose a fumble in this one. Christian Kirk, 1 for 11 on the ground, catches all 5 of his targets for 39 yards. So still a relatively safe floor for Christian Kirk. He gets you the 10 points. DeAndre Hopkins, though, was probably the play of the game. 9 targets, 6 for 87, and the touchdown. Max Williams, again, will pour one out for him. AJ Green kind of fell back to earth, too. 2 targets, 1 for 13. So not a lot of fantasy goodness in this one. 17-10 final here. Hopefully these teams get back on track. I know the 49ers have a bye next week. I can't remember who the Cardinals play off the top of my head, but maybe we'll see Kyler Murray get a little bit loose in that one. The Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, 44-20 here. The Giants got just slammed with injuries in this one. The Cowboys moved to 4-1. The Giants at 1-4. Let's go take a peek at the snap counts here. The snap count's not in yet for this game. There we go. So the Giants leading the way with snaps in this one. Devante Booker, 88% of the snaps. Saquon Barkley gets hurt in this one. He was only able to play 6 snaps. He only plays 9%. So this entire backfield is going to be Devonte Booker. They're going to use him as the bell cow back. Again, 88% of the snaps. We'll look at the box score when we're done going through the snap counts. But just a huge day for Devonte Booker. Huge opportunity coming forward in the next few weeks. Evan Ingram was the next most used player at 74%. Kyle Rudolph played a lot too at 60%. That's just because they were so dinged up at the wide receiver position that they had to run out 2 tight ends a lot. John Ross leads the way at the receiver position with 41 snaps, good for 60%. You see Kadarius Toney here, which we'll get to his box score in a second. 54% of the snaps for him. He got ejected at the beginning of the 4th quarter, I believe. Colin Johnson, 44% snaps as a receiver, and Kenny Golladay couldn't finish the game. Only 24 snaps, 35% with, I think it was the hamstring or the knee injury that got him again. And then it's a frustrating day. I mean, Daniel Jones gets knocked out, only 43% of the snaps. Kenny Golladay gets knocked out, and then Saquon Barkley gets knocked out at the beginning of the game. So rough day for the Giants. We'll talk about the numbers in a second. On the Cowboys side, CeeDee Lamb leads the way at 83%. Dalton Schultz taking the stronghold of the tight end 1 spot for the Cowboys, 73% of the snaps. Amari Cooper, same thing, 73%. Cedric Wilson playing a lot. And again, friendly reminder, Michael Gallup's probably coming back after the bye week, which I think they have. They play this week. I can't remember who they play right now. I think they play at New England. But week 6, they're going to, so week 6, they're at New England. Week 7 is their bye week. Week 8, we should see Michael Gallup back in the lineup here. Ezekiel Elliott, 60% of the snaps to Tony Pollard's 40%, and Blake Jarwin, kind of an afterthought on this one at just 40% of the snaps. Let's go look at the statistics in this one. For the Cowboys, Dak Prescott was balling, 22 of 32, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. He also lost a fumble in this one. Cedric Wilson also attempted a pass here for 22 yards. 1 rushing attempt for 6 yards, and then 1 catch for 35 yards. So busy day from Cedric Wilson. But the story in this one was Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard just ran all over this team. Zeke goes 21 for 110 yards, 1 touchdown here. He also caught 2 of his 3 targets for 2 yards and a receiving touchdown. Tony Pollard goes 14 carries for 75 yards, catches all 4 of his targets for an additional 28 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 1 for 4 as a rusher. And then 6 targets, 4 for 84, and the big touchdown in the game here. Dalton Schultz leads the way with targets with 8 total targets, 6 for 79 as a receiving weapon here. Amari Cooper, 6 targets, 3 for 60 and the score. And then Noah Brown here, 3 for 36 as a 4th receiver for the team. The Giants side. Don't really know how much to take away from this box score, but I'm just going to start with the 2 guys that made the most sense to me. Devonte Booker, 16 of 42 on the ground. He gets a rushing touchdown. He also catches 3 of his 4 targets for 16 yards and another touchdown. So 2 touchdowns in this one, but the usage is there. You're going to want to trust the volume. He's not going to score a touchdown in every game. But, man, if Saquon's going to be out for a while, Devonte Booker's going to continue to flirt with almost 20 touches per game. Other receiving weapons here, Kadarius Toney was pretty much the star of the game. 13 total targets, 10 catches, 189 yards. He also had a 7-yard carry in this one. He also had like a weird attempted pass in this one. So Toney looks like he's going to be involved in this offense. Again, he did get ejected for throwing a punch late in the 4th quarter. We'll see if he's disciplined at all. I'm expecting him to play again. He also had he got carted off or something, but it sounds like it was just a minor injury right now. So we'll watch his practice reports, but it looks like Kadarius Toney needs to be involved in this offense going forward. He was absolutely dynamic and super fun to watch. Evan Ingram, 4 targets, 4 for 55 as a receiver. And really nothing else stuck out in this one. It was a really frustrating day. But the main takeaways, Kadarius Toney needs to be picked up. Devante Booker, if you're looking for a running back 2 to start while Saquon's out, Devante Booker can be your guy. And then we'll see if Daniel Jones can get if he can clear concussion protocol. The Patriots and the Texans, we're going to be real quick about this one. I'm not going to recommend any Houston Texans to anybody, especially now that Brandon Cooks, second in snaps here, 85% for Cooks, 92% for Chris Conley. I really don't even want to talk about any of the other snaps on this team. I don't think there's anything that we need for fantasy. Same for the Patriots. The Patriots were pretty ugly in offense this one too. Jacoby Myers leads the way, 91%. Nelson Aguilar, 67%. The tight end situation, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith both get 40 total snaps, good for 62% each. Kendrick Bourne, whatever, the third wide receiver for a team that we don't want to trust for fantasy, 50%. Brandon Bolden leads the day in snaps, 38% for running backs. Ramondre Stevenson, 34% for the number 2 spot. And Damian Harris, we saw him get hurt early in the game. 33% of the snaps for Damian Harris. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, Damian Harris got hurt early in this one, and the Patriots were just trailing. So you saw a lot more Brandon Bolden in this one. As far as box scores go, Mac Jones, 23 of 30, 231 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was sacked once. Damian Harris did look really good, though. He had 14 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown. He also lost a fumble. Brandon Bolden, just 2 for 25 on the ground, 4 for 6 as a receiver. Ramondre Stevenson, he did get 11 carries in this one, but only 23 yards came out of it here. And then Hunter Henry, 8 targets, 6 for 75 and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, only 5 targets, 4 for 56 as a wide receiver 3 flex PPR play. And there's absolutely nothing from Aguilar, N'Keal Harry, Jonnu Smith, Kendrick Bourne, just a frustrating offensive day. And then just real quick, on the Texans side, Davis Mills throws for 312 yards, 3 TDs. Mark Ingram gets 16 carries, but only 41 yards. Chris Moore, 5 for 109 and a touchdown. Chris Conley, 3 for 84 and a touchdown, while Brandon Cooks, only 5 targets, 3 for 23. If you would have told me Davis Mills throws for 312 yards and Brandon Cooks is only going to get 23 of them, I would have called bullshit on that one. But interesting game here. I think this almost just fully makes me distrust Brandon Cooks. I guess if you guys have questions on starting Brandon Cooks in the future, I can answer those later. But overall, one of the uglier games that I really didn't pay attention to on Sunday, Texans and the Patriots, both really frustrating for fantasy. And then speaking of frustrating, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Let's roll with the snap counts in this one. Let's see what we got on the Titans side real quick. You got Derrick Henry hitting 77% of the snaps. Marcus Johnson leading the way at receiver with 75. A.J. Brown back. Good to see him come through unscathed. 64%. Michael Pruitt led the way at tight ends, 59%. Jeff Swaim, 56%. There's Chester Rodgers at 48%. Anthony Firkser, the third tight end, at 42%. And Jeremy McNichols just down here at 23%. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, Marvin Jones led the way at receiver, 93%. Laviska Shenault Jr., 73%. Dan Arnold, 73%. James Robinson, you see him getting up to 68% now. And then some receivers here, Jamal Agnew, Tavon Austin, 63% for Agnew, 34% for Tavon Austin here. Carlos Hyde gets 25%, and then just a bunch of nothing the rest of the way here. But in terms of the box score, Trevor Lawrence actually played decently, 23 of 33, 273 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. He also ran 7 times for 28 yards, and he gets a touchdown. So pretty useful fantasy day from Trevor Lawrence. James Robinson, though, 18 carries, 149 yards, 1 touchdown, only 1 target, 1 reception for -2 yards. We got to get James Robinson more involved as a receiver, Mr. Meyer. Can we do that, please? Jamal Agnew, 8 targets, 6 for 41 as a receiver. Dan Arnold, this was probably my main takeaway from this Jaguars game, is that they want to use a tight end. They want to use Dan Arnold. 8 total targets, 6 for 64 as a receiver. He did lose a fumble that went for a touchdown. Laviska Shenault, really quiet day, only 3 targets, 1 for 58 as a receiver. Tavon Austin, 5 targets, 5 for 54 as a receiver. Marvin Jones, only 5 targets, but 1 for 23. And then who cares? Darrell Ogunbowale, Luke Farrell, Jacob Hollister. The main takeaways, I think, for Jacksonville right now is James Robinson's the only must-start guy for fantasy. And Dan Arnold, I think he's worth an ad here as a tight end streamer. If you're really weak at tight end, I think Dan Arnold could be of use for you in PPR leagues. On the Titan side of things, Ryan Tannehill, 14 of 22, buck 97 and a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times, also ran 3 times for 21 yards. Derrick Henry, guys, we have to appreciate what he is doing right now. 29 attempts, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. He didn't receive a single target in this one, which I thought was weird. As far as the receivers go, A.J. Brown led the way with targets, 6 targets, but only 3 for 38 as a weapon. Marcus Johnson, 3 for 52. Really nothing happened for the Titans passing game in this one. Anthony Firkser, 3 for 33. Michael Pruitt caught the touchdown, 1 for 14 in a TD. Just a bunch of nothing from the Titans here, who they're trying to find themselves on offense. It's all Derrick Henry, but they need to get the receiving game going with Ryan Tannehill here. We'll move on to Buffalo and Kansas City. I know this was the Sunday night game. I'm not sure why this is the order that I'm seeing them on the chart here, but let's go take a look at it. The Bills won this game pretty easily. Dawson Knox leads the way with 96% of the snaps. Manuel Sanders, 79%. Stephon Diggs, 74%. Zach Moss, this was my main takeaway of the night. Zach Moss, 74% to Devin Singletary's 26%. So there's a clear tier difference here for Zach Moss down to Devin Singletary. Cole Beasley, an afterthought, 39%. Gabe Davis, an afterthought, 25%. On the Chiefs side, Travis Kelce, 87%. Tyreek Hill, 85%. Cool. Demarcus Robinson, 76%, playing a lot. Mecole Hardman, not even the real number 2 receiver on this team anymore, 69%. Darrell Williams gets 43%. Jerick McKinnon played a lot at 31%. There's Byron Pringle, 30%. And then the big injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who sounds like he's going to be out for a few weeks with a knee injury. He only gets 26%. Josh Gordon, 9 total snaps, 10% of the plays. Let's go look at the box score and see what happened here. On the Chiefs side, rough day for Patrick Mahomes, 33 of 54. 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions and a fumble loss. He did add 61 yards as a rusher, so he was able to get rid of those the fumble and the interception points here with the rushing yards. But Darrell Williams, 5 for 27 as a rusher. Clyde Edwards, 7 for 13. Just nothing going on the ground for the Chiefs. As receivers, you see Tyreek Hill lead the way with 13 targets. He goes 7 for 63. That's fine. It's a Tyreek Hill floor game. You'll be okay. Mecole Hardman saw a team second best, 12 targets, 9 for 76. So it was good to see him get more involved. Hopefully he can start out-snapping Demarcus Robinson. But Robinson only got 2 total targets, 1 for 8. So it looks like Hardman is improving here as a player. Travis Kelce, 10 targets, 6 for 57 and a touchdown. You also see Byron Pringle catch 2 balls for 11 yards and a touchdown. He also lost a fumble in this one. Just a kind of just a strange game with tons of names in the box score. Jerick McKinnon got in 2 for 13 as a receiver. Josh Gordon 1 for 11 as a receiver. Just really nothing to take away too much besides the Clyde Edwards-Helaire injury. That's going to open up the door for Darrell Williams. It's going to open up the door for Jerick McKinnon. We'll see those guys on the waiver wire show tomorrow night. And then in terms of the Buffalo Bills, man, Josh Allen, not a productive day as a passer, 15 of 26, but the results are there. 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 attempts rushing for 59 yards and a score. Zach Moss, 11 carries to Devin Singletary's total 6, and then 37 yards for Moss, 25 for Singletary. As a receiver, Zach Moss catches 3 of his 4 targets for 55 yards. He looked really elusive on a couple of those plays too, whereas Singletary gets 1 for -2. Dawson Knox was the thing of the night. 4 targets, 3 for 117 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, pretty quiet day. Only 5 targets from Diggs. 2 for 69 as a receiver. Manuel Sanders here, 3 for 54 and 2 touchdowns. Gabe Davis, non-existent, 1 for 16. Cole Beasley, 1 for 5. Tommy Sweeney, whatever. But man, oh man. Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Zach Moss, those are the things that Manuel Sanders, that's what's working right now. So Stephon Diggs is kind of a frustrating wide receiver 1 right now. He should be fine. If you're looking to buy low on a player, Stephon Diggs should be your guy. But so far, Dawson Knox, man, top 5 tight end right now. Manuel Sanders looks like a guy that you need to get in your lineups. And Zach Moss pulling away from Devin Singletary. The Vikings and the Lions. The Lions just keep finding new and heartbreaking ways to lose games. TJ Hawkinson led the way at 81% of the snaps. DeAndre Swift, 74%. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 69%. Khalif Raymond, 68%. Cordero Hodge popped it in here for 65%. And we did learn that Quintez Cephas broke a collarbone in this one, so we're probably going to see more Cordero Hodge going forward. Jamal Williams, only 32% in this one. Nothing else really worth noting. The Vikings. Adam Thielen, 93% of the snaps. Justin Jefferson, 90%. There's Tyler Conklin up at 75%. Alexander Mattison had a beast of a day, 66% of the snaps for him, 60% for KJ Osborne. Nothing else needs to be mentioned here on the Viking side. Let's take a look at the box score here. Kirk Cousins struggled in this one. 25 of 34, 279 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only ran the ball once for 4 yards. The player of the game was Alexander Mattison, 25 rushing attempts, 113 rushing yards, and then he catches all 7 of his targets for 40 yards and the touchdown there, 1 fumble lost. When Dalvin Cook is out, Alexander Mattison needs to be in our lineups. I think that's a golden rule at this point. Justin Jefferson leads the way with 8 targets, 7 for 124 as a receiver. Adam Thielen, 2 for 40. It happened to be like a full 3 quarters before he caught his first ball, so at least he gets you 6 points. Tyler Conklin, quiet day, 3 targets, 2 for 25. D. Westbrook, 3 for 18. KJ Osborne, 3 for 14. Not much happening there outside of Justin Jefferson and Alexander Mattison. Jared Goff, 21 of 35, 203 yards, 1 interception. But Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift both played pretty well in this one. Jamal gets 13 carries for 57 yards, 2 for 8 as a receiver. DeAndre Swift was the player of the game for the Lions. 11 attempts for 51 yards and 1 touchdown. Also caught all 6 of his targets for 53 yards here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, probably a name that we got to be, just got to know who he is for the waiver wire if you need wide receiver help. He gets 8 targets, 7 for 65 here as the leading receiver of the day. Quintez Cephas, again, broken collarbone. TJ Hawkinson, really rough day, 2 for 22. And then Cordero Hodge came in here and gets 5 targets, 1 for 17. Not really sure what to make of this offense for Detroit. It's still DeAndre Swift as a top 5, top 10 play at running back. And then maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm interested. Maybe Jamal Williams as a running back 2 flex. It's the Lions are showing fight, so I give them credit. Dan Campbell, it looks like he's beginning to change the culture there. They're going to start getting some wins eventually here. The Steelers, 27, the Broncos, 19. Let's take a peek at the snap counts. We did learn that Juju Smith-Schuster was lost for the season in this one here, so I guess I'll start with the Steelers. Deontay Johnson gets 92% of the snaps, and then a big drop-off down here to Najee Harris at 65%. Chase Claypool, 55%. With Juju hurting, Ray McLeod came in at 52%. And then Juju here at 38% of the snaps. For tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, 49%. Eric Ebron, 38%. And with Najee Harris, it sounded like there was cramping going on. He ended up getting 42%. No, he got 42 total snaps. Benny Snell got 13 snaps, good for 20%. On the Broncos side, Noah Fant led the way for skill players with 97% of the snaps. Tim Patrick, 95%. Cortland Sutton, 90%. Kendall Hinton's been running as the number 3 receiver. He's up here at 65%. And the running back split, Melvin Gordon gets 60%. Javonte Williams only gets 42%, which I thought was a little strange, considering so far through the first 4 games, it was more of a 50-50 split. So looking at the numbers here, Teddy Bridgewater, 24 of 38, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, 1 for 11 as a rusher. Javonte Williams, though, 8 for 61, which is great, and then 3 for 25 as a receiver. So he gets some decent floor in PPR. What is that, 5.5 as a receiver, 6.1 as a rusher. So he gets the double digits for you. That's kind of been his floor all season long. Melvin Gordon goes 9 for 34, 2 for 9 as a receiver. Nothing really fantastic there. Cortland Sutton was the player of the game, though. 11 targets, 7 for 120, and a touchdown. Tim Patrick also played pretty well. 9 targets, 7 for 89 as a receiver. Kendall Hinton gets the other touchdown, 2 for 25 in the score. Rough day for Noah Fant, 3 for 20. This was a good game for Sutton, for Patrick. I think at this point, you're hesitant to use Melvin Gordon, but it looks like Javonte Williams probably needs to be in your lineup as a low-end running back too. For the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, 15 of 25, 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did lose a fumble in this one, but this is what you want from Ben Roethlisberger. I think 25 to 30 passing attempts is the perfect number for him because Najee Harris was able to get going. 23 attempts, 122 yards, and a touchdown. He only catches 2 of his 5 targets for 20 yards, but Najee Harris, man, that's who you want getting the majority of touches. You don't want Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball 35, 40 times. Juju Smith-Schuster, again, he's pretty much out for the season with a shoulder injury. I think he's undergoing surgery this week. Chase Claypool, 6 targets, 5 for 130 and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, only 2 targets today, but he caught both of them for 72 yards and a touchdown, so you're going to take that. And then nothing else. Nothing else. This entire Steelers offense, it's Najee Harris first and foremost. You're starting Deontay and you're starting Chase Claypool. That is it. Those are the 3 names you want to use going forward. Ben Roethlisberger maybe in Superflex leagues, but interesting game. The Broncos came back in the fourth quarter, made it interesting. They just needed a little bit more time, and just maybe if they get a touchdown in the first half, then we're talking. But they had to settle for some field goals there towards the end. Chicago and the Las Vegas Raiders. Chicago wins on the road, which is a pretty interesting game here. 9-20. Chicago gets the W. Let's look at the snap counts in this one. On the Bears side here, Allen Robinson goes for 83%. Justin Fields, I guess I'll start with that. He had 95% of the snaps. He hurt his knee in this one, was able to come back, so that's why it's only 95%. But back to the flex players, Allen Robinson at 83%, Cole Kmet at 80%, Darnell Mooney only 77%, which I don't know if he was dinged up throughout the week. Traditionally, it's been Darnell Mooney leads the team in snaps as wide receivers. Khalil Herbert, rookie running back, leads the way for running back snaps here. 53% for him. Damian Williams just 48%. And I don't even want to talk about anybody else on this team. It's Damian Williams, it's Khalil Herbert, it's Mooney, it's Met, and Allen Robinson. Those are the 5 players you need to know for the Bears. On the Raiders side, Darren Waller, 96%. Derek Carr, he had to leave and came back in, 94% for him. But Henry Ruggs, 84% to lead receivers. Brian Edwards, 76%. Hunter Renfrow, 75%. No other receivers need to be known for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs led the way at running back, 69 total snaps, or 69% of the snaps. Kenyon Drake at 18% of the snaps. Jalen Richard is back here at 15%. But interesting day here. Well, let's go look at the box score, and I'll tell you guys about the Raiders just sputtering throughout the day here. Derek Carr, 22 of 35, only 206 passing yards, 1 INT. He was also sacked 3 times and added 10 yards on the ground. Josh Jacobs did fine, 15 for 48 and a touchdown as a rusher. He also caught 4 of 5 targets for 19 yards. So you like that volume as a pass catcher here for Josh Jacobs. Kenyon Drake was just like a non-factor in this game, 2 for 11, 1 target, no catches. But Hunter Renfrow, man, Renfrow is probably my biggest takeaway from this game. 8 targets, 6 for 56. That is now 5 straight games where Hunter Renfrow has recorded double-digit points in PPR league. So that's 5 straight games over 10 points. I like to see that. Henry Ruggs, 3 for 51. He has a high floor. He's interesting if you need a dart play. Darren Waller, 8 targets, 4 for 45. Like that's his worst game. 4 for 45, 8.5 points. You'll take it. Move on to the next week. Brian Edwards, 2 for 22. Just nothing happening for the Raiders side. On the Bears side, Justin Fields, 12 of 20, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, only 4 yards rushing. We were excited about Justin Fields, but I don't think I'm ever going to feel confident starting him in even in a super flex league. I'm a little bit nervous right now, so definitely not in a 1 QB league. Khalil Herbert led the way, 18 carries, 75 yards, no receptions, so that's what separates him from Damian Williams. Williams gets 16 for 64 and the rushing touchdown, also gets 2 for 20 as a receiver. So Williams is going to be that PPR running back too going forward. But Khalil Herbert, probably the guy you want to pick up on the waiver wires if he's chilling this week. Darnell Mooney, 3 for 35. Allen Robinson, 4 for 32. Cole Kmet, 2 for 22. Jesper Horsted with the touchdown, 1 for 2. Mooney, Robinson, and Kmet, I'm probably going to leave these guys on my bench until they have a big enough game where I'm excited and thinking that maybe I can start trusting these guys again. But really, it's Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert. Those are the 2 names you want on your roster right now. The game of the day, at least what I thought was the game of the day, the Cleveland Browns and the LA Chargers. Let's take a look at this one. 47-42, the Chargers pull it out. The Browns here, Odell Beckham, 81%. Austin Hooper, 72%. Donovan Peoples-Jones at 68% of the snaps. David Njoku, 64%. Nick Chubb, 56%. Rashard Higgins, 47%. Kareem Hunt down here at 44% of the snaps. The Chargers, Keenan Allen leads the way, 91%. Mike Williams, 77%. Austin Eckler, 71%. Jared Cook, 67%. Jalen Guyton, 57%. And Donald Parham, 53%. That's really the only guys I want to talk about. Josh Kelly did get some run. He did get 35% of the snaps. You guys remember him from last year? But let's just go over this box score here for the Chargers. Justin Herbert, 26 for 43, 398 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. He was sacked twice, but he adds 4 for 29 on the ground and a touchdown as a rusher here. Huge day for Justin Herbert. But man, Austin Eckler leads the way on the ground, 17 for 66 and 2 rushing touchdowns, 5 for 53 and a touchdown as a receiver. He did lose a fumble in this one, but huge day from Austin Eckler. 3 scores on the day here. And Josh Kelly, the only other running back to get a touch, 2 for 17 as a weapon running the ball. Mike Williams, 16 targets, 8 for 165 and 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 9 targets, 6 for 75 as a receiver. Nothing really else here. I mean, Jalen Guyton, you're never going to feel comfortable with him, 2 for 35. But Donald Parham, don't sleep on Donald Parham. He went 2 for 29 and a touchdown. Jared Cook, 3 targets, 1 for 29. If anything happens to Jared Cook, that means it's clear for takeoff. Donald Parham is going to be a force on the waiver wire. So just keeping in mind, he looks really good. I think he scored touchdowns in 2 of the last 3 weeks. I really like him. He's 6'8". He's just a freak. On the Brown side, Baker Mayfield struggled in this one, 23 of 32, 305 yards. We'll look at the numbers in a second, but 2 touchdowns, 2 for 8 as a rusher. Nick Chubb was just fantastic, 21 for 161, 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 catch for 9 yards. Kareem Hunt, 12 carries, 61 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, 5 for 28 through the air. David Njoku had a 71-yard catch and run for a touchdown. He goes 7 for 149 and a TD. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 5 for 70. Rashard Higgins, 3 for 29 and a touchdown. Odell Beckham, only 3 targets, 2 for 20. You're telling me in a game that was 47-41 or 42, whatever it was, Odell Beckham only gets 3 targets, only 20 yards? Poor management, I think, of the Odell Beckham numbers in this one. But overall, man, great game here. The Chargers offense looks very legit right now. You want a piece of Herbert and the running game and the receiving weapons in that one. Tampa Bay will be quick about this one. The Dolphins, 17-45. Tom Brady goes nuts. But on the Dolphins side of things, Jalen Waddle led the way, 80%. Mike Gesicki, 78%. Preston Williams, good to see him back and healthy, 74%. Myles Gaskin, 69%. Just stop me right there. We'll look at the box score for the Dolphins later. But those are the main pieces that moved the ball for the Dolphins on Sunday. The Buccaneers, Tom Brady actually got relieved here by Blaine Gabbert towards the end, so the Bucs numbers are going to be a little bit reduced. Mike Evans, 78% of the snaps. Chris Godwin, 69%. Leonard Fournette, 62%. O.J. Howard led the tight ends at 59%. Antonio Brown, 57%. And then don't sleep on this Tyler Johnson, 51% here. He's the clear number 4. It looks like they're trying to get him more involved in the offense, and he's separated himself as the clear number 4 receiver. Cameron Brate down here at 38%. Giovanni Bernard, 23%. And poor Ronald Jones, man, he's just getting booted here. Only 14% of the snaps. Look at the numbers real quick. Tampa Bay, man. Tom Brady, 30 of 41, 411 yards, 5 TDs, added 13 yards on the ground. Leonard Fournette led the way as a rusher, 12 for 67 and a score, 4 for 43 also as a receiver. Ronald Jones looked good on his 5 carries for 21 yards. He also added 1 catch for 15. But Giovanni Bernard, man, that's someone that you want to check out your waiver wires for in PPR leagues. 4 for 21. 2 for 14 and a touchdown as a receiver. Chris Godwin led the way with 11 targets, 7 for 70, but no touchdowns. Antonio Brown, 8 targets, 7 for 124 and 2 scores. Mike Evans, 8 targets, 6 for 113 and the other 2 scores there. So really good day for Brown and Evans. Godwin, it's a floored game. You'll take your 14 points. Tyler Johnson, 3 for 42. And then there's O.J. Howard, 2 for 19, and Cameron Brate, 1 for 12. We'll see if Rob Gronkowski can make it back for I don't think he's playing week 6, but maybe week 7. On the Dolphins side, Jacoby, maybe the last week we see Jacoby here as Tua Tagovailoa looks like ready to go for next week. 27 of 39, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble in this one. Myles Gaskin, the player of the game, maybe 5 attempts for 25 yards, but catches all 10 of his targets for 75 yards and 2 scores. Preston Williams, 5 targets, 3 for 60. Jalen Waddle, 6 targets, 2 for 31. Mike Gesicki, 7 targets, 4 for 43. Just if you weren't Gaskin, you were not it for the Dolphins on this day. But I'm encouraged by the Waddle usage. You see 80%, 6 targets, 1 carry. That should be something useful going forward for Jalen Waddle fantasy owners. So I'm just going to pass this one. The Dolphins, we'll see them next week against the Jaguars in London. Hopefully some better news with Tua back in the helm. The Saints and the football team. Saints win 33-22. This will be the last one I cover in this video. On the Saints side, AK-41 gets 88% of the snaps. Adam Troutman, 86%. Marquez Callaway, 82%. Kenny Stills up here at 71%. Nothing really else on the Saints side here. We'll look at the box score in a second. For the football team, Ricky Seals-Jones, 99% filling in for the injured Logan Thomas, stepping basically right into his role. Logan Thomas played 100% of the snaps when he was healthy, and Ricky Seals-Jones just says, okay, I'll do all that. Terry McLaurin, 84% of the snaps. DeAndre Carter, 70%. Adam Humphries, 61%. Antonio Gibson comes in at 57%. J.D. McKissic gets 41%. Let's go take a peek. I guess I'll call out Curtis Samuel, who got injured, only 6% with that groin injury. Looking at the box score, though, Taylor Heineke, rough day, 20 of 41, 248 yards and 2 INTs, 5 for 40 as a rusher. I really wish Ron Rivera would stop chucking the ball so damn much. They go into halftime 20-13. I don't see, and then they're right there with it in the third quarter. I don't understand why they want to whip the ball 41 times with Taylor Heineke when you got a pretty good running back and some other players here that you could run the ball with. So Taylor Heineke, 20 of 41, 248 yards, 2 INTs, gets 40 yards on the ground, but I don't understand calling for 41 Heineke passing attempts as being a winning formula. Antonio Gibson gets 20 carries for 60 yards, 2 TDs, 2 for 12. It looks like Gibson's back into our good graces as a fringe running back 1. Jarrett Patterson, I'm going to expect more of him to get involved. I think if you guys are Antonio Gibson owners, you should probably pick up Jarrett Patterson here, because notice J.D. McKissic only 2 carries for -1 yards. If anything happens to Gibson, Jarrett Patterson's the guy that they're going to give the carries to. So they're starting to get him more acclimated into the offense. I like what I see from him, 4 for 13. DeAndre Carter, 1 for 11 as a rusher, but 8 targets, 4 for 62. As a receiving weapon. Adam Humphries goes 5 targets, 3 for 73. Terry McLaurin, slow day here, 11 targets, 4 for 46 as a receiver. Ricky Seals-Jones, though, this is probably a tight end you guys want on the waiver wire. 8 targets, 5 for 41 as a receiver, and then J.D. McKissic just 1 for 8 as a receiver here. But main takeaway for me, Gibson looks good. Even in tough matchups, he gets the touchdowns. And Jarrett Patterson is the emergency guy that you want to add. Ricky Seals-Jones, probably a tight end 1 with Logan Thomas missing games. And don't worry, you got Terry McLaurin. You'll be fine. For the Saints, Winston, 15 of 30, 279 yards and 4 TDs, 1 INT in this one, 26 yards rushing, and then he did lose a fumble. AK-41, Alvin Kamara, 16 attempts, 71 yards and a touchdown. He also gets 8 targets. We did it. We got 8 targets in this one. 5 for 51 and another score for AK. Kenny Stills, 2 for 17. Marquez Callaway, a team high, tying with Kamara, 8 targets, 4 for 85 and 2 scores. Deontay Harris, 1 for 72 and a touchdown before he got hurt. Adam Troutman, 2 for 43. We'll leave the candle on. We'll leave the door open. We'll see what Adam Troutman can stack upon next week. And then Taysom Hill got a concussion in this one, 1 for 11. But man, interesting game here. The Saints badly needed to get some bad tastes out in their mouth. Washington falls to 2-3. Saints at 3-2. And as I record this, the Monday Night Football game has begun. I'm going to get to that. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you guys liked it and made this video all the way to the end, let me know in the comments. What was your favorite part? What can I do better? What can I do differently? Should I be reading the actual snap counts, or you guys like the percentage numbers? I'm new to this. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to share information with you guys. So again, I appreciate it. If you liked it, share it with a friend, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Peace.